Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast on this 14th of September 2021. I'm your host, Gerald Quinn. And this is episode 784 of the Real Deal podcast, and I am joined by one Robert Sapp. How you doing tonight, Mr. Sapp?
Yo, how you doing? Doing well. Thanks for having me.
No question about it. We get off to a good start to the NFL season. A lot of good action, to say the least.
Yeah.
We had some games to go down to a wire. Had a few surprises. Had a number of performances to look back on. I'm going to start off the program with the most impressive performance as I here.
Yeah. I have two, so I'll start off. I mean, like the impressive performance started off on Thursday. I thought Dak Prescott was just very, very impressive. Just very impressive. To me. And I know that might hurt as a I don't even know the name of your team. Football team, whatever. Fan, but and it hurts me. I'm not a Dallas fan. But just in general, the level of play was extremely high, of course. But I'll just be honest. I did not expect him to look good. I just didn't. I didn't. I thought that injury was significant. I thought it would take a lot of time. I thought he would come back with a little bit of rust. And no, he went blow for blow with Brady. And I just left that game just being really, really impressed with Dak Prescott. So it started off on NFL kickoff for me, one of the most impressive performances. And my second impressive performance was also in another loss. But I love the Cleveland Browns' performance against the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though this team didn't win last night, it reminds me of Baltimore circa when New England was on top. The thing that always impressed me about Baltimore is that they were never, ever afraid of New England. The rest of the league scared, especially AFC mostly scared. All the teams that had to face New England all the time, terrified, all the time. And when I watched the Cleveland Browns play that game, especially after last year's playoff loss, I was like, oh, that could be mentally debilitating for a team. And me never being a Baker Mayfield fan, I did not anticipate that level of competitiveness from that team. And I watched a team that just had no fear of Kansas City at all. Like at all. Zero fear, no matter how much Mahomes and the boys kept pushing, they kept pushing back. And then the final thing I say on it, I was just talking about this with my brother, so it's just fresh in my mind, and we'll get to it. But especially after the Green Bay debacle, and especially after what I watched last night, and watching those two quarterbacks who are supposed to be MVP caliber just kind of nod and be like, okay, we lost. It was on me. To watch, like, acting through that interception and the way that he reacted and pounded that ground and that level of just like, I care so much about this. I was like, give me that any day of the week. I want that. That's what I want. I want that. And so yeah, those the two most impressive things that stuck out of me coming out of this week, both in loss.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Dallas Tampa Bay game, I thought, first of all, I didn't think the game was very good. I didn't think the game was very good per se, even though with the numbers, both quarterbacks put up great numbers, and there were a lot of plays made. It was kind of sloppy. the defenses struggled. But Dak was great. Yeah, Dak definitely stood out in that game. I thought maybe I can make a case that he outplayed Brady. To be honest with you, he was spectacular. Spectacular. Even the interception wasn't his fault. The ball went right through the two hands. So that definitely I could definitely see that being a tremendous that was definitely a tremendous performance. As far as Cleveland, Kansas City goes, I just think that Cleveland that matchup is just it's tricky for Kansas City because they run the football, and that how you match up against Kansas City, obviously in a dream world, which was the last past Super Bowl, you knock Mahomes around, sack him a bunch of times, and go from there. But more likely, that's not going to be the case. That to me, that Super Bowl is an aberration as far as I don't see it ever happen again. They fixed the offensive line this year. It's definitely improved. So you have to keep Mahomes off the field. And I thought the game plan, I thought the game plan was fine. I thought the difference in the game, of course, is the fact that Kansas City has another gear that very few teams, if any, have. And I thought Kansas City's defense stepped up in the second half. I did a lot of people were criticizing Cleveland's play calling. I was like, no, Kansas City defense, they get paid. Coordinators get paid too. So they made a couple of adjustments, tightened up in the second half, and then of course Mahomes is Mahomes. But I definitely walked away from that game feeling like if I'm Cleveland, I wouldn't mind seeing them again. Definitely walked
I
away with
think
that.
they want to see them again, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean it's a matchup. It's a good. I mean it is a favorable matchup. If Mayfield plays a relatively clean game, that's a tough matchup for Kansas City. It is. I had
what were your impressions? Yeah.
I had Green Bay, New Orleans, and I had New Orleans from top to bottom. It actually was easy for me. This performance, this was just an old-fashioned woodshed special. It was a domination in terms of point of attack. I think people forget how talented the Saints are on both sides of the ball. I think people forget that they have a tremendous defensive line. They're good on the back end. They have an excellent offensive line with arguably one of the best running backs in the league. And I just love the game plan. I love the fact that Jameis Winston only threw 19 passes. They ran the ball 24 times and only threw the ball 19. They controlled the game from start to finish, and I'm not listen. Everybody, the sexy topic to talk about, and of course we know what was coming on Monday morning was Green Bay this,
Yep.
Green Bay that. Like no, it was about the Saints. It was about the Saints. It was about the Saints, and it was about Sean Payton. That was a win of culture. That was a culture win. Saints have had one of the best cultures in the last decade, and there's a reason why they've gone on these runs even without Drew Brees. Like Teddy Bridgewater came in a couple of years ago. They were like 7-1. So like Sean Payton is very good at coaching and calling plays. So that's all it is.
Yeah, very good.
That's all there is to it. And if Jameis Winston, who we know have talent, we've been watching him since he was at Florida State. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but if he can cut down on 10 to 12 interceptions, be like 33 and 16 or 32 and 15, something like that, that team will be a force to be reckoned with. Period. They have as much talent on both sides of the ball as any team in the league. Period. The defensive line, offensive line, point of attack, they can play anywhere. Play anywhere. They don't. The game is not. They can play in the cold. They indoors. It doesn't matter. That game travels. So I was thoroughly impressed with the Saints, and we'll we'll see them moving forward. And again, it's all. I mean, it's going to be about James Winston, how consistent he can be throughout the course. You know, great week 1, 5 touchdowns. Again, he threw one pass that was like, but for the most part, he kept it. He made smart decisions, threw the ball out of bounds. We know there are going to be games where he has to throw a ball 30 times. That is the question. What happens when the running game gets, kind of stopped or controlled, and you have to counter him to throw the ball 30 times and go win you a couple of games. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I mean, I like your first point is the best one, where it's just like I'm not as concerned. Like this game confirmed what I thought was that the decision making will be by Sean Payton and the game plan that he creates. The thing that will alter that will be if they get behind by a few touchdowns. And you have to throw the ball way more than you want to. That will dictate if Jameis Winston has really turned the corner in terms of being interception prone, turnover prone. But as long as they're on schedule, I have faith that Sean Payton. I was thinking about it. I mean, it's Payton and Reed in terms of offensive mind. It's that simple. It's those two. And there's nobody that you trust more with a quarterback than those two coaches.
No.
In the game right now, just period.
No.
Just period.
No, they're right.
So whatever your best is, they're going to get it out. Whatever it is. And so there's not a world where Jameis Winston is going to go off script in Peyton's offense.
No.
But if they get behind, then that's when we'll tell. That's when we'll tell.
Yeah, I mean
But as you said, they didn't have to worry about it this game because Green Bay didn't put up a fight.
No.
And I'll say this:
go ahead.
If Aaron Rodgers isn't going to play at an MVP level, this is where I'll get to the Aaron Rodgers stuff. If he's not going to play at an MVP level, that defense ain't safe. So it's going to be a long season.
No,
if he's not going to play at his ultimate best every single game.
No, no, I mean he was bad. I say this about Green Bay. I'm not as concerned about Green Bay from a standpoint offensively. The thing that concerns me about Green Bay, even after 1 week, is I've seen this movie before, as far as a team just physically kicking their ass, and that was a couple of years ago with the 49ers. So I'm not even worried about the offense. To be honest with you, I think you got to take consideration the offensive line. 2 rookies, Bakhtiari will be back at one point. He's one of the best tackles in the league. I really don't. Again, I gotta see Aaron Rodgers fall off before I believe it happens.
Yeah. If Aaron Rodgers plays at his normal level, they're fine.
Right.
If he doesn't, it's a problem.
No, They had right. They don't have, like, to your point, they don't have a Tampa Bay defense that could could bail them out. No. They don't have that at all. My concern is the physicality. Like I said, when a team physically mauls you, that bothers me. The fact that the Saints with Jameis Winston were able to run the ball for 141 yards would bother me more than the offensive performance. That bothers me. Because and they knew they were going to try to run the ball. They knew they would try to run the ball. That's the thing about it. It's not like it was a surprise at all. So, I think that they're going to, like you said, to your point, they're going to live and die with Aaron Rodgers. Like that offense is going to be like, that defense is going to play off that offense. Big leads, pass rush, things of that nature. Yeah, the defense is going to play off that offense. You're not counting on Green Bay's defense to be this top 5 defense. Not at all.
This is nothing new that I'm going to say, but Hall of Fame, superstar quarterback hides a multitude of sins, right?
Oh, I have
And those
no question.
quarterbacks
Yes.
know how to control a game
The
in
pace.
order
Yeah.
to limit the amount of time that the defense is on the field, particularly limit the amount of time that they're on the field during the crunch time moment, right? And so, yeah, will Aaron Rodgers have a bunch of yards and touchdowns and things like? Of course. All the great quarterbacks will do their damn thing offensively and put up numbers that are good. Like that goes without saying. But it is about their impact on the game and their flow of the game, and particularly the impact on the flow of the game and how they control that, and particularly how they protect whatever the weak points are, whether it be the offensive line, their receivers, running back, particularly the defense. We saw it forever with Tom Brady, doing that type of thing. We saw it forever with Peyton Manning. All the great quarterbacks have been able to manage the other side of the ball, if that other side of the ball is the weak point of their team, by extending drives, fourth quarter, of course, going on those long drives, converting the third downs that really matter, to extend drives, to limit the amount of time that the defense is on the field. And so that's what I'm thinking about when I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers and other great quarterbacks as well, playing at the top level that they need to play when there's such a glaring weakness on their team. They are expected to perform to a level to limit that exposure. And so you can't have 3 and out, sir. You can't. You just can't. You can't. Even if you don't score every time, you have to give your defense time. And in that game, it was over
Quickly
by second quarter.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they could not stay on the field.
No.
And so they got to go back to the drawing board. It's week 1, as we all know, and especially nowadays, the first few games of the regular season is essentially the preseason. None of these guys have played together for any amount of time, any meaningful action. So we get it. We all get it. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board, not going to overreact completely, as you're stating, and you're absolutely 100% correct. But that defense is, as you said, Green Bay, especially in this run with their great quarterback, have not had to traditionally field a dominant defense by any stretch of the imagination, a physical defense by any stretch of the imagination. And particularly with Green Bay, their back end has always been horrendous. And so that's what I saw more glaringly. To your point, you had a great offensive line, and you had Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston has a lot of talent, but nobody will mistake Jameis Winston for a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No.
There are a multitude of quarterbacks that will dice that defense up in ways that Winston couldn't even dream of doing. So if they're not going to be able to sustain drives on a consistent basis, this season can get away from them. It has that potential.
Yeah, especially with all the backdrop of possibly Rodgers last year.
Yeah.
All that. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Listen, they were already talking about Pro Football Talk was already talking about possible. Again, this was just talk. This was just crumbles. This was just rumbles. But could Aaron Rodgers be traded in season?
They were talking about that during the game.
Yes, you're right. Yes.
Of game 1. During the game of game 1.
Yes.
That's not a great look. That's not a great look.
Not a great look at all. That's not a great look at all. So listen, we'll see. Like I said, I never overreact to week 1, but things could get tenuous very quickly Now again, good news for them this week is they got Detroit. Oh,
Yep.
they're hosting Detroit, so that's
Yep.
always good therapy. That's always good therapy.
Yep.
But if
Yep.
you wanna,
Yep. Yep. What's Rodgers' record against Detroit? It's something.
yeah, it's
I
just
know it
it's insane. It's but basically it's the whole division. Basically, hey, I mean he's on
Yeah.
like
Yep.
he's on that whole division. So especially at home.
Yep.
I listen. I'm not a bettor, but I would expect the spread to be covered. Take the point. That's what I would expect. I would take the points in Green Bay.
That's the smart
Green
thing.
Bay Detroit. If I were a betting man, I'm not, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that spread will be covered by the Packers. So we're
So
going
to your point, the Saints can be sneaky good, and that's crazy saying that about the Saints because you're right. But I think people put them to the side because Drew Brees retired. And to your point, they are a complete football team.
They're complete. Yeah, no,
they got talent everywhere.
All over.
Everywhere.
All over. No, all over. And, you talk about Green Bay on the back end.
They're significant on the back end.
Yeah,
they're good.
They're good on the back end. They're good on the back end. They have players on the back end. So it felt kind of different this opening weekend, especially on Sunday. I mean, of course, we get past Thursday. We got two, Tom Brady, who's been around forever, and Dak Prescott, who now is going into becoming a veteran. But there are a number of first and second year quarterbacks starting that started this year, seemingly more than ever. And we know where this is coming from for our teams. Owners have no patience. Quarterbacks are coming out of college relatively ready, as far as somewhat ready, but as ready as they have been in the past. And again, bottom line is owners have no patience. So what were some of your thoughts on some of the performances and your overall thoughts on these first and second year young quarterbacks?
Yeah, I was actually in preparation thinking about this. I called my brother and we were just kind of like having a conversation about all these different things. And I think an overarching thing that came because he made a comment. He's like, I don't know why I was so into this week more than normal. And I thought about it and I was like, the slate is pretty clean right now in terms of like the stars that we know about play a style of football that allows them to get hit. And the ones who play more pocket style, the Joe Burrows, who else am I thinking about? Even Zach Wilson, he didn't run around a lot. But even still, they're not at a point where they're going to get all the favorable Hall of Fame calls that we've seen and everything like that. So it just allows for the game to be just like a more clean and a little bit more physical than it's been in the past. And so what I noticed was that the Trevor Lawrence thinking about the game that he had, what I noticed was that they just kind of let them play a little bit more than when you had the old guard that was in there, when you had the Peyton Mannings and the Drew Brees that were just protected, beyond protection. And you just got all these calls from all over the place. And so I think what we're seeing is these young boys got to prove it before the league is ready to give them that halo that they give the superstar quarterback. And with that, also, we're seeing some great adjustments from defenses, at least early in the year, especially compared to last year when the offense, when it was just like everybody went home and then it was like, all right, come back and play now. And the offenses were having a field day through the first few weeks of last season, just field day. The defenses are like, nah, we get paid too, and we actually had some time to figure some things out. So nothing's going to be super easy for you this year. And so I think my overall impression is these young boys are going to have to earn every single strike that they get. Every single strike. Nothing is going to be given to them. And you saw it in the games that were played even though I didn't see too many just like, oh, he's having a complete mental meltdown. Sorry, Daniel Jones. I don't see a complete meltdown mentally. But what you saw was just really good, solid defense being allowed to be played against these young quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think we're at a very interesting place with the quarterback position. I think that there was a time where it would take 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 years where you would kind of give the quarterback time to develop, and you would kind of figure out, oh, is he really that good? I want to say, and this might be jumping the gun, I feel like I can gauge a guy depending on the situation. Let's just say the situation is not just the worst situation in the world, but if the situation is somewhat decent to competent, I don't feel like it takes as long to gauge where these guys could play or not. Like I really feel that way.
I agree. You can see that guys can play, and so then coaching comes into a big thing. Like watching that Jacksonville game and I'm just like, oh, Trevor Lawrence is gonna have a long year.
Right.
There's not a lot of talent around him, and they're just gonna put him out there and just say, bro, and it's gonna be a long year. There's not a lot of offensive. There's just not a lot going on there, and so like even though it's fairly obvious he can play the game of football, it's going to be a long year. Now, conversely, we talk about Kyle Murray, right? I love how Arizona is building that team around him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, I want. Yeah,
I know. But we're talking that just in terms of just like we have a young quarterback. What we're going to do is we're going to put veteran wide receivers around him, so that he doesn't have to take on not only like owning the quarterback position, controlling the game, like learning the playbook, all the plays, getting everybody right in the right position, but also have to coach up the receivers, make sure they're doing the right things, make sure the offensive line doing the right things, everything like that. That can break a young quarterback. And I think we saw that with, what's his name? That was with the Jets, but now is on Carolina. I'm blanking on his name.
Darnold.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. Like where it's just like if you don't give your quarterback any support at all, no matter how talented they are, they're gonna go down. They're gonna go down with the ship until they can get into a better situation. And so, I think that's what a lot of people just kept saying. It's just like, man, Sam Darnold looks like he can play, but boy, this team is bad. Coaching is so bad that it becomes impossible to evaluate him because the circumstance around him is so bad. And so I say that to say, yes, we will be able to determine if a quarterback can see if a quarterback can play in the league, absolutely. But what makes it difficult to judge how effective that quarterback can be is the system that is around him and the coaching that is around him.
No, there's no question about it. I want to talk about Kyler Murray. I know this.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
They have. If I look at that team, I think Murray has a chance to be a Pro Bowl franchise caliber quarterback without question.
Oh, Murray is a problem.
They have the best receiver in football, and they have a pass rusher in Chandler Jones, who who I think will might end up playing his way into the Hall of Fame. I think the back end of his career has been that good these last 3 or 4 years.
He's going to have a monster season. I know that sounds like after the 5-sack game, like of course you can say that, but I read about it and then I saw highlights of it and then I watched the entire game and I was like, oh, it's not because he's as talented as he is, because he's great talent, but the talent around him on that line
is better.
Allows him to just be dominant. He's going to have himself a season.
Yeah.
Because the people around him, that means the other offensive linemen are going to have their hands full, and they can't just slide and shift everything towards Chandler Jones. They'll do it some games. Some offensive lines will be able to handle it like that, but boy, he's going to have himself a season. You can see it coming. And he's hungry. He's angry about his Yeah, he's going to have himself a season.
But you look at Kyler Murray. I mean, even last year, you look at a guy. The team wasn't that good.
Yeah.
You look at that guy and says that guy has it. Whatever the it factor is, he has it. He has it.
Yeah, he's special.
Like I don't need 4 or 5. I don't need 3 or 4 years to figure that out.
He's
just watching him. But he has it. He has it. No, it's like he has it. And
he's special, and they put the right pieces around him.
Yes,
put the right pieces around him.
Yeah, no two ways about it. I'm gonna save Justin Fields because we're gonna talk about the Chicago game later. Because I'll save some of that. I have some interesting comments about that. And even with
Nagy's not a good head coach. Nagy's not a good head coach.
No, I mean, we know.
I'm just gonna say that right now.
Yeah, no, that goes without saying. That is.
But that to the point. I mean, he's not a good head coach. So that situation's bad.
It's not. It's not a potential for a lot of growth. Yeah, no. But with this coach, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I was watching that game and I was just like, Nagy, what are you doing? I don't even understand what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't understand when you're putting why is Andy Dalton running? What is happening? What is happening? What are you doing? What are you doing?
We're about to get to that now, so we can go past the Kansas City Cleveland game. We kind of flush that out. Let's go to the Rams Chicago game. Some big throws by Matthew Stafford. The Ram defense is what it is. There's no surprise that the defense is still a top defense, if not the best defense in the league.
Yeah, it is.
So that's no surprise there. I guess. I mean, I guess here's the thing in terms of how you manage a quarterback situation, and we've seen a number of these situations mismanaged. We certainly didn't love how the Miami coach handled Tua and Ryan Fitzpatrick last year. In that situation, that was a disaster. So my thing is, if we feel like Fields is clearly better, and we're willing to play him like 3 or 4 plays, a couple of running plays, a pass play. Why is he not starting? I'm a little confused. Like what?
And what's even more confused is I didn't understand when and why you were bringing him in. I didn't understand what Dalton was doing wrong to be pulled. I didn't understand what offensive concept you were trying to get across when you brought Fields in. And then when you made the change, I didn't understand why you were making a change. I didn't understand anything that was going on offensively for the Chicago Bears at all.
No.
And I definitely don't understand who you have at skill positions and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
Like I'll take another game. The Patriots-Dolphins game, right? Like at the very least, I could understand what they were trying to do with Mac Jones in that game. I could understand it.
Yes, and he played well.
Now level of effectiveness, is what it is. How how talented I believe Mac Jones is whatever. But the point being is I could understand what it was they were trying to accomplish. I had no clue what the Bears were trying to accomplish in that game. None. Zero. Who benefited from what happened in that game offensively? Like, who benefited?
Nobody.
You know what Dalton is. You know what he is.
Yes.
You did nothing to play to his strength, so what are you doing? And then when you bring Fields in, like what? Like, this it's going the other way, but you saw how Baltimore adjusted when they brought Jackson in. It looked and felt different from what they were doing with Flacco, right?
Exactly. Yes.
With it, there was no difference in what they were doing when they brought Fields in. It was just like, we're tired of Dalton. Fields, you go in. Fields is a completely different player from Dalton. A completely different player from him. And so if you're not going to build the offense around Fields and what he does best, what are you doing, Nagy? And that is why I'm looking at Nagy going, I'm not sure it was Trubisky. Not only am I not sure, I know it wasn't Trubisky. You're just a really bad head coach.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not exactly clear how you got this job and kept this job, to be honest with you. If I'm keeping it all the way real.
No, I mean, no, I agree with everything you just said. Now, here's the thing that doesn't make sense. So Dalton, I mean, Fields came in for 2 pass plays, and he had 1 carry for 3 yards. This clearly is your future quarterback. And by the way, we know that he's probably gonna be the starting quarterback before the leaves hit the ground. Okay, we understand this. Why would you risk him getting hurt on running play, trying to run some gimmick ass, not halfback option or pass? Like what is? I don't get it. And I'm going to say the same thing with San Francisco and Detroit with Trey Lance and Garofalo, which makes even less sense, to be honest with you, in this one. But it just doesn't make sense to me. And like I don't understand why would you risk a guy playing? Why would you risk your future of your franchise with some gimmick bullshit? That's my thing.
You either commit or you don't commit.
That's it.
And if you're going to commit, then that offense needs to look completely different.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's not. It's really like you got to tailor the offense around the guy who's under center. Period.
The offense you run from Andy Dalton cannot be the same offense you run for Justin Fields. It just cannot be.
No.
It cannot be. It cannot be. It just can't be.
You either do two things.
We're not talking about Andy Dalton 8 years ago.
No.
We're talking about Andy Dalton now. You damn sure can't run the same offense you're running with Andy Dalton now for Justin Fields.
No.
You're not setting up for success in any shape, form, or fashion.
Like I mean, let's go back to the New England Miami game, because I watched a lot of that game. Of course, they're still figuring out who Mac Jones is, but they're going to say, hey, we're going to play to our defense. We're going to run the football. We're going to use our tight ends, and go from there. That's pretty much it. That's quick passes. Yes.
Determined targets, so he doesn't have to decipher a lot of different things.
Right.
At the line of scrimmage. We're not going to have it. This is not a situation where we're going to ask Mac Jones to run the football in any shape or form or anything like that. We're going to be really careful with the ball. We're going to try to play smart offensive football. You can see the concept of what they're trying to do with Mac Jones. I have no clue what Chicago is trying to do. I honestly don't. And I've been watching football for years. I have no clue what they were doing. Zero clue. And your point to 49ers is so well taken. I have no clue what the 49ers are doing. I don't think they know what they're doing.
But here's the thing about the 49ers. The 49ers actually have a legit starting quarterback who, and again, I like him better more than you, per se. But
I'm fine with Garoppolo. I have no problem with Garoppolo.
I think
I think
Jimmy.
the
I think he's a
49ers
legit
have a
NFL quarterback.
very, yeah, I think they have a very warped sense of how good they are. And honestly,
Explain that. Explain. Go add to that. Add more.
so after the Super Bowl loss, the narrative seemed to be that they were a different level quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl, right? So
Right.
that seemed to be the beginning of the less ish on Garoppolo train.
Right.
But with that being said, then the next level, who was going to be that next level quarterback? You're talking about a veteran. If you're going to go another level, you're talking about a veteran who can come in and who can dominate the offense. Honestly, you're talking about Tom Brady. That's who you're
Or Aaron
talking about.
Rodgers. Or Aaron
That's the
Rodgers.
next level.
Or Aaron Rodgers.
And if you're not going to get that level quarterback, then you're going below that. There's no rookie on this planet that's going to step in and be ready to take a team to the Super Bowl.
No.
They just aren't.
No.
They just aren't. And so then if you're going that direction, to your point, right now, they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're trying to have the veteran stability with what they think is the talent of a rookie. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm trying to make something that doesn't make any sense,
it's
trying to make sense, which is why I'm like, they're confused. They're just very confused about who they are. They let a lot of that defensive talent go, which is what they should have been holding on to for dear life, because that's what made that team so special that year. But I that's what I mean by they have a warped sense of what they are. I think San Francisco is a really good football team potentially. Now they're not, because they keep losing people left and right, which they always do.
Right.
And so you know, I think they'll end up exactly around where they ended up last year, if I'm being honest. You know, game one notwithstanding, thinking about their entire body of work since their Super Bowl victory. But the strength of that team was defense.
Yes.
And
running game.
And
they were
Shanahan being a fantastic play caller with a veteran quarterback who could understand the concepts that he was doing. And that was Garoppolo.
Yes.
That's Garoppolo. And so what needed to happen was you commit to him and commit to figuring out specifically all the things that you needed to do to continue to make him successful. Investing in the running game, investing in honesty. Just, I don't know what's going on with the training staff. I don't know if it's fluke injuries or whatever. Keeping them boys healthy, honestly. What they had. But now they're in this weird situation that they created. They created this entire situation of we have this vet quarterback that understands the offensive concept, but we as an organization have told him, we don't trust you. And so now you have him, and you've devalued your defensive talent, your defense, by letting some very key defensive members go. And so you're not as good defensively. You have messed up your quarterback's head, and the person that you have in the wings is a rookie who you're not starting from rip. So he's not even getting the reps necessary to get better. It makes no sense. It really does.
No. Again, it's how.
And so tell me how that's the Super Bowl winning formula. Please tell me.
It's not.
Please tell me.
It's not.
Please.
It's not.
Maybe I'm confused.
It's not.
Maybe I don't understand football.
Listen, 2 years ago, they were right there in terms of with Kansas City. They could have easily won that game.
They were terrifying defensively. They were terrifying.
They destroyed Green Bay in the championship game. We were just talking about the Saints about being the point of attack. San Francisco was number one in the league at point of attack defensive offensive lines, period. Their offensive defensive lines combination was as good as anybody in the league 2 years ago, period. So I don't know, like to your point, I don't know why you don't keep building on that. That draft pick you drafted, Trey Lance with, could have been a defensive player, an excellent defensive player to continue that, to kind of fill in the gaps of the pieces you lost. I know you can't pay everybody. That secondary is a sieve. I mean, that secondary,
Yeah.
that secondary right now is a joke.
Yeah.
Period. Like in that division with Russell Wilson and Kyler Murray, and now
I was
Stafford,
gonna say they're not. I mean, they're not better than Arizona,
the Rams.
Rams, Seattle.
No,
They're not.
no,
They're
no.
just not.
So like I said, I mean, you got a lot of these organizations just outthink themselves. I just, I don't get this. I don't get how they soured so much on Jimmy G. I just don't. I don't understand. Don't understand that. Jimmy G's biggest problem has been staying healthy. That's been his biggest issue. When he's played, this team has won. His record is great when he's on the field. It's not like he's winning games. It's keeping him on the field. That's been the issue.
So, like I said, I don't know if it's freaking whatever, but man, they need to.
They get a lot. No, the
training staff needs to be every way. However, the best is paid. They need to just keep them boys healthy. Yes. They always losing a rash of players.
Always. And key players at that. They're not just anybody. They're key players. So we go to and I was very fascinated with this game. I watched this game closely, and because I wanted to see what Lamar Jackson looks like in year 4. So Baltimore loses heartbreaking game in overtime. David Carr, he's not David, that was his brother. Derek Carr throws the ball all over the field. We know Marcus Peters is out with the ACL, so they're back. The back of that defense is not what it once was, without question. I mean, they have some issues that I'm confident that Baltimore and their coaching can fix. But the big thing to me out of that game, and we talked about good performances in losses. I was impressed with Lamar Jackson from the pocket. And I really I was looking for it. I was looking for him making plays out of the pocket, him, reading the defense, things of that nature, him looking to pass first and not run. I thought he did an excellent job of that. And I thought that the 2 fumbles and the 12 carries, those to me were coaching mistakes. I don't think you can run him that many times. I don't think he should be running 10 to 12 times, period. I think he's actually up to his level in terms of throwing the football. What were your thoughts?
It is clear that they've turned the offense over to him. It's clear that they trust him in the passing game. All of that is clear, and I'm fine with all of that. I agree with you. I think he's very loose with that football, and he takes way too many running back hits. That needs to stop.
Yes. No
I
question.
think the biggest when I look at Baltimore, I think the biggest thing is they didn't upgrade the offensive talent around him. I think there's a ceiling to how good that offense can be, particularly if it's not just Lamar, go out and be Lamar and be special all the time. I think that will get you to the playoffs with how talented he is, 10-6, 11-5. But that's the plateau. That's the plateau. I'll say it very clearly. And you know me, I'm a Bills fan. And last year, I was so pessimistic about our chances against Baltimore because Baltimore ran the football and we were horrible at stopping the run. I was so pessimistic all the way. I thought Baltimore was the second best team in the league. I actually thought they had the best chance to beat Kansas City.
Right.
After that game, I could very clearly say we were better than Baltimore. We are better than Baltimore.
Yes.
Buffalo's better than Baltimore.
Yeah.
And at that time, third best team in the league, fourth best, maybe behind Cleveland. Now, at last year, and they haven't gotten better, haven't improved at all. And so, what you need again is Lamar to play out of his mind. If Lamar's going to play out of his mind, he's going to have to be special out of the pocket a lot of the time. And what I saw is somebody who's super confident in his ability to move around, but is willing to also take really big hits, and we know where that leads with quarterbacks. Doesn't matter how special you are at that position. There's only a certain amount of hits you can take. And he's super loose with the football. I 100% agree with you. He's clearly more confident as a passer, clearly understands that offense and everything that's running. All that is very clear. I'm not knocking that at all. I do not love the offensive talent around him. I don't love it at all. And especially now that half his backfield is gone.
Yeah, no,
not even half. A third of his backfield is gone. So they don't even have the consistency of that running game to be. And all the names that they signed were great 6 years ago.
Yes.
But not today.
No.
Not today.
They have
so what they're left with is Williams, who I couldn't even find in the fantasy. I couldn't even figure it out who he was enough to get him. And then the tight ends, which are fine. But I've only seen one tight end led offense actually do something, and that was led by the greatest quarterback of all time. And the receivers don't scare me. I'm sorry. They don't. They're quick, they're fast, but they're not elite at any stretch of imagination. And so, yeah, Lamar's special, but you did nothing to upgrade the skill positions to justify him throwing as much as he's going to have to throw. And then you got leveled at the running back position. So, Lamar's Lamar. He's gonna have to do special things in order for this team to elevate. But I look at the top teams in the AFC, and I can't see Baltimore getting past them. I can't.
2 years ago, they had the best record, I think, in the league, and they were number one seed in the AFC. They lost to Tennessee, of course, not the wild card game, the divisional game. That talent level has decreased every year since.
Yep.
They're not even as talented. They didn't have enough pieces then offensively, but it's gotten, and defensively they're nowhere near what they were. Period. So
no,
now,
not even close.
Now the defense is not as good. And you're running, like you said, the running situation is just, a freak show. Outside of him, he had 86 yards rushing. That's a lot. That's a lot on a guy. We know how uber talented he is, but that's too. Matter of fact, it's more than a lot. It's absolutely too much. It's too much. And
And we said it, and we said at the time it's absolutely accurate. Defenses were going to study what they did. They were going to study what they did, and they were going to have counters for it. And I watched that game closely as well, and I watched that team kind of figure it out throughout that game, right? Like, it looked a certain way through the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter. First quarter, it looked like, Baltimore was going to steamroll. Then second quarter, slowed down a little bit. Then we get to the third quarter. It's pretty much a stalemate in the third quarter. We get to the fourth quarter. I'm like, wait, the Raiders' defense is flying around quicker. They're getting better as this game is going on. And then that's when they started to get really aggressive with Lamar, and then got those 2 fumbles at the end. And so I say that to say, the offense isn't special enough now, meaning they're not hitting with such new concepts that defenses can't figure them out like they couldn't figure them out in years prior, especially when they first unveiled that offense.
Well, here's the thing,
and Lamar hit that next gear of passing and running. That thing was special. That thing was hard to stop. They had linebackers just confused, not knowing what to do.
No question. Even Pittsburgh, who had the top defense, couldn't do nothing with it. But here's the thing about it. Here's the thing. There are more athletic quarterbacks now than there ever have been, as far as running, and the RPO. Okay, maybe not athletic as like Lamar, who's all-time great, but there are enough of those guys who are elusive. Mahomes and Kyler Murray, all those guys. These defenses are seeing those guys more and more, so you're going to get used to playing against that type of style of offense, or that type of style of quarterback.
Yeah.
So to your point, you got to have something else.
Honestly, like on the Sunday night game, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say on the Sunday night game, Collinsworth kind of called it out. And I was thinking about this as I was watching the Browns and the Chiefs play, because I noticed the exact same thing. I was like, the Chiefs defense is getting stronger against the run as the game was going on. I was like, that's not what usually happens. Usually a running game wears down the defense. And Cosgrove called it out on Monday Night Football. That's when I realized, like, oh, defenses are kind of changing their concepts, because he was like, the Rams defense was essentially daring the Bears to run.
Right.
And they were wait, am I saying the right game?
No, you talking about the Chiefs. The Sunday night game was the Rams Bears game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like he was saying, the Bears run. Not the same offensive talent level on the Bears, but my point is that teams have, to your point, gotten the defensive have adjusted and being like, you know what? Teams aren't even trying to run. I'll speak for my team, the Bills. 5 wide receivers all over the place. Josh Allen running not 4 times. We might run 15 times in the game, but really just want to pass it all over the place. Teams are going like, okay, y'all not even trying to run. So why are we playing game plans where we're trying to stop the run? That's archaic to what the game is now. And teams are adjusting to that, to the point where they have athletic people all over the field. It might not be 8 defensive backs. It might not be dime the whole time, but essentially the linebackers and the safeties are running free all over the place and are only playing pass, because teams, they know, because of the way that the game has shifted, that teams are not even attempting the amount of runs. They're not even pretending that they're going to run the ball anymore. So we're seeing a lot of adjustments in that way. And then, again, I was talking to my brother, and what he pointed out is so accurate. Instead of going, the defense has shifted as the rules and the game has gone. Instead of going for the big blow-up hit, these guys are going for the ball. They punching the ball out.
Yeah,
and you saw that over and over again.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Out of the league. They're punching the ball out. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
There's no value in trying to get like a huge hit on anybody anymore. Get that football out their hands. So that's some of the adjustments that you're seeing, and that's a reaction for all these quarterbacks just running around outside the pocket, flinging it all around the field.
So we're gonna shift to our teams. So
do we have to?
We got you. We got you. Listen, we got you.
Like,
yeah. So Pittsburgh, Buffalo, you guys jump out 10-0.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's offense looks like it did at the end of last year, maybe even worse.
Yeah.
And then
defense.
And then you get some big plays on the Pittsburgh defense, the block punt for the touchdown, biggest play in the game. And that was basically all she wrote. First of all, again, Pittsburgh defense, we know, is still very good. They're still
very good.
They're very good.
They're very, very good. And we were very stupid.
What were your thoughts on just like your guys play calling?
Yeah.
50
I got all the thoughts. I got them all.
Yeah,
all the thoughts. I haven't really spoken about this at all, so I'm about to unload.
Yeah, go ahead. It's all you. Go ahead.
We needed to be humbled, and they're there are only 2 good points I could take away from this game from the Bills side, and 3 points, and 2 of them are horrible. 2 of them are horrible for us, but could potentially be good. Meaning, there's a lot of Dable talk, and he needed to be humble. His play calling was atrocious. The second one was there's just a general feeling that the offense couldn't be stopped, and that all we had to do was just do pitch and catch the entire time, and that just needed to be humbled. It needed to be humbled. And then the third one, which is actually fairly good, is I was hoping for an improvement for our defense. I like balanced teams. I do. I like balanced teams. And so I was hoping to see improvement from our defensive, and they were ready to slug it out with Pittsburgh. So that was encouraging to see on the defensive side of the ball. Outside those 3 points, god-awful game plan, god-awful execution for what you want to see, even though this is essentially a preseason game. The first game, what I want to see from my team is a team that looks prepared because you've had the most time. You'll have the most time you will ever have to prepare for an opponent, right?
Right.
That first game. And so for the Bills to look so poor and unprepared to play they're the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is not a team you can play around with. Would I rather played a different team game one? Absolutely, because that has significant playoff implications if we are the team we think we are. That has significant playoff implications. You can't blow that game. You can't blow that game. You just can't blow that game. And so to watch the defense play a fantastic game, and then the side of the ball that you're supposed to be the most well executed to come out and play so poorly is very, very disheartening. And then on top of that, what was that? That fourth down play, the pitch back to Matt Breida, whatever it was. I think I've erased it from my mind because it was so stupid and the worst. and so it's just like, that's what I mean by like being humble. What I saw, let me succinct my thought. What I saw was a team that was overly confident in its offense, that was feeling the hype of itself and did not execute to the level of the competition that they were playing. TJ Watt lived in our backfield.
Yep.
The reason why he lived in our backfield is because we refused to help. We thought we could go shotgun, 5 wide receivers, basic protection, and that would stop the Steelers, and that's asinine thinking. At the very least, after the first few series, the first 2 quarters, and TJ Watt is all over the place, and the rest of that defense is flying around everywhere, you need to renegotiate that game. And a commentator for the Bills that I listened to made a really great point. It's like, for the first time in a long time, I watched a game where I was like, I didn't understand I didn't understand the concept of the game. It's one thing when you get into a defensive struggle to go, you know what? Now we got to play the field position game. This is going to be, I think about the Super Bowl between the Pats and the Rams, right? Like, nobody could do anything for whatever reason. But then it was like, all right, that's the type of game we're going to play. The one score is going to win this game. So every possession is even more valuable than it would be in a 31-28 game. And so once it became obvious that, neither one of these defenses are backing down and we're not going to be able to do the concept, now we got to protect field position. So why the hell are you going for it on 4th down, 4th at the other point? Like, what are you doing? Like, the game had already turned into that type of game. And then all of a sudden, now you want to go for it on 4th down in your own territory and give them a shortened field. That doesn't make sense to the type of game that was being played. And so it was a very tough day at the office, coaching-wise, having the team prepared to play the game, having the team adjust to the style of the game that was being played, which has always been one of my big critiques of that entire coaching staff, even through all of last year, is we struggle with in-game adjustments. We do. We struggle with in-game adjustments. I just thought because the defense was poor last year and the offense was so good, I thought it was more regulated to the offensive side. In this game, I saw game flow be very poorly mismanaged, and that was disheartening to see. In terms of like Josh Allen, the offense and everything like that, there will be better games ahead. I'm not stressed about that as much as I am stressed about the way in which we looked prepared for the game or looked unprepared for the game, and the way that the game flow went and how we did not adjust to how that game flow went, and wasted a very, very good performance by a defense.
Yeah, I thought your defense played well. You talked about your you talk about your team on the flip side with Pittsburgh. I thought it was the same Pittsburgh offense that we saw the last 10 weeks. That offense is like just not good. I mean, they're gonna have a hard time moving the ball against anybody this year, as far as I'm concerned. They're gonna have to live with. They're gonna have to have those all-time great defensive performances to be in games. But I didn't see anything from Roethlisberger or from that offense that would tell me that hey, this team could surprise some people and make a run to the playoffs. When I
I mean,
compare them,
it's the same thing we said about Baltimore.
yeah,
Their skill level has just decreased.
it's not there.
It's
No,
just
it's not
decreased.
there.
It's
They,
just decreased.
they cannot run the ball. They can't now their offensive line is not even any good. To be honest with you, it's average at best. That I mean, for the past 4 or 5 years, they had one of the better offensive lines for the past 3 or 4 years, excuse me, where Roethlisberger would barely get touched. But now that's gone. Even the year he was hurt, the offensive line was held up. They just didn't have a quarterback that a couple of years ago when they were going through like just a bunch of guys who probably didn't belong in the NFL at quarterback. But no, that talent level is just not there with Pittsburgh, especially offensively. I mean, defensively they are a monster. T.J. Watt, Fitzpatrick, they have some. They're a problem defensively. They're gonna
they are.
They are. Period.
Yeah, they are.
They're a problem defensively. They have a great field goal kicker. So defense, special teams, they're fine. But that offense is and it's like in a conference with Patrick Mahomes, that is that's a no. You can't have a suspect offense. You just can't. You gotta be other. You gotta be. Go ahead.
Here's the problem with Pittsburgh's offense right now is that when your all-pro Hall of Fame quarterback loses their fastball,
they got Drew. It's a Drew Brees problem. It's a Drew Brees situation.
What you hope is that their mind can win you X amount of games, right?
Right.
But the thing, and this is shade on Ross. I was about to say no shade on Roethlisberger, but no, this is
shade on Roethlisberger. No, he can shade
his mind has never been the best part of his game.
No.
It just hasn't been.
No.
It just hasn't been. It's been his grittiness, his toughness, his arm strength, ability to make unscheduled plays, yada. All those different things.
Keep the play alive.
That'd been great.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Yes, two Super Bowls. He's the Hall of Fame. We don't have to sing his praises because that will happen when he gets his gold jacket. But he's lost his fastball, obvious to everybody in the world. And so what you would hope is that the mental side of the game could carry him through some of these things. And like we said, he just that's not his strength. And so without that, again, it's the exact same thing we say with Baltimore. The skill positions need to be elevated, and they didn't. They didn't elevate the skill. They're still moving in the same Steelers game plan, which is homegrown, everything like that, which is great when you have an all-pro quarterback playing at all-pro level. Not so great when you don't have that quarterback playing at that level to have a decreased skill set. We're talking about a team that couldn't get it done with Roethlisberger humming, Antonio Brown humming, and Le'Veon Bell humming.
Yes.
At the exact same time.
Right.
And they still couldn't get it done.
No.
So who the hell? Who are we talking about now?
No.
Broke down Ben Roethlisberger. Who are the receivers?
Yeah, Juju Smith-Schuster
and the other guy.
Yeah, Claiborne.
Sometimes they can figure that, who's their running back? I dare you to figure out his name.
Yeah, no, I mean, they
drafted
Najee Harris.
Exactly.
Yeah, no.
No. This team's going to win a Super Bowl?
No.
But like you said, that defense is a problem.
No,
man.
The defense will keep them in most of the games.
It's a problem.
The defense will keep them in. And Tomlin, Tomlin is still a top coach. So he'll have the team.
So again, 10-6, 11-5.
Or 10-7, because 17 games now. Right. 17 games.
That's such a weird. But just one get that's so weird. It's so weird. I don't get it.
It's very
one extra game. I really don't. I really don't. I mean, we know what it does financially. I just
it's weird. It's a weird.
17 games.
No, it's a weird number. No, it's definitely a weird number. No, I mean they
Are they
listen.
giving extra? Are they giving? Does that allow the bye weeks to flow better? I wonder. I'm so confused about this
I
17 team. I
don't.
really am.
I think I don't know what
But to
it's.
your point, yeah, whatever the math works, I have to get used to that before I can say those numbers with any regularity. But yeah, yeah, good enough to make the playoffs. Absolutely good enough to make the playoffs. But again, you're the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that's not the standard. That's
Good
it.
enough to make the
Not the
playoffs is
standard. No, it's
kind
not
of
the
not the
standard.
goal.
No, no.
And especially when your mortal enemy is non-existent anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah,
This is a bad time not to be great, not to be as good as you need to be.
no. I mean, listen, they have the same problem the Saints have, but the difference is the Saints have drafted and developed talent better in the last 3 or 4 years. Period.
But
Because they were able to hide. They were able, as bad as Breeze was as far as not being able to throw the ball down the field, he still was accurate, and they still had a great offensive defensive line.
yeah,
And probably some bad luck here and bad luck there. Probably should have won a Super Bowl the last 3 years. Probably should have won. They should have at least one Super Bowl over the last 3 years. Those teams were top teams in terms of the Saints. The last three seasons. But
yeah, they got to live with that. I like
they
that.
got
Is
no.
yeah,
It's
that's
completely their fault.
ridiculous.
No, it's I
Yeah,
mean
that was bad.
yeah,
That was bad.
nobody to blame but
Yeah,
themselves. Peyton has to take a heat for
yeah,
that
they
too.
just got to live with that.
They got to live with
That
that.
was
No,
bad. That
they
was bad.
wasted golden
Just bad.
3 golden
Yeah,
opportunities.
yeah,
Clearly,
yeah. They were stacked. They were stacked.
they
They
were
were
stacked.
ready. They were locked and ready to
Yeah,
go. But also, that's what's making this. I think that's what's the reason. I mean, I texted you and said, anytime you're ready to talk about football, I'm ready because I can already tell I'll be locked into this season. And I think that's what's making this season so fascinating to me is the GOATs are gone. I mean, we have one, of course, but everybody else is either decreased or, Aaron Rodgers is whatever he's doing. But everybody else is either gone or at a lower level. And so it just has a feeling of, all right, like this is like, let me see what's going, let me plug in, see who's going to rise and who's going to, we know what Kansas City is. We absolutely know what they are. But in terms of everybody else, it's just like, who's going to do the thing? And we have such different player movement, different people in different places. It's just making this it's setting up to be just such a fascinating season for me.
no question about it.
A refreshing season.
As far as my team goes, and you got fans back in the stadium. Now it doesn't help. Now speaking of the Saints, we of course COVID is still around. You had 8 positive tests for the Saints organization, so that is still, and they all were vaccinated, by the way, as a franchise. They 100% vaccination. So
Yeah.
that is still the black cloud that lingers.
Still a thing. Still a thing. It's still a thing.
Still is. As far as the Washington football team, which still doesn't have a nickname, and boy, they might want to need to stay the football team because I've seen some of the nicknames that.
Oh yeah, boy, pause. Hold on.
Horrible.
You made me go through my stress to talk about my team. Yeah, you need to talk about them. Go.
So
yeah, you get to talk about them now.
First of all, I thought that they were going to lose the game because simply Los Angeles has a franchise quarterback, and we don't have a quarterback. You've known the Ryan Fitzpatrick. You've been on that ride before.
Boy, have I.
You've been on the ride before. So you know how that turns.
And that was what? That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't want the Ryan Fitzpatrick now experience. That just sounds horrible.
No. So
hey,
I'll tell you
hated
this.
it then.
Let
now,
me tell you something.
no, thank you.
When
when
he got injured, I've never. Again, I wasn't rooting for anybody getting injured, but if you would have saw my face or you would have saw my reaction when he went down, it was kind of like a sociopath. I had no reaction. It wasn't like I didn't say nothing. I was like basically said, let's keep the game moving. I was like, oh, okay. Where's Heineke? He played well in the playoffs. Let's go. Let's keep the game moving. And Heineke actually, led the offense to some points. I never.
When you cut out Ryan Fitzpatrick as your starting quarterback, you're not even
Yeah,
treading water.
no, no.
Like, what are
Yeah,
you doing?
it's like
Like,
what? Like
no,
what is? I like
no,
what? I like. Man, I like
no.
just go sign. I like just sign Cam Newton. Come on.
Yeah,
Like what are we doing here? Like what are we doing?
yeah.
So
No, no.
my expectations coming into the season were not high. Like we don't have a quarterback. I don't care about the defense. The defense is very good. Well, I get it. And by the
Your
way,
defense is good.
and
Your
then no, it's very
defense
good.
is
But by the way, they didn't play well Sunday because they couldn't get off the field. You can't give up 14 and 19 on third down.
Well,
That's
there
not
you go.
going.
Yeah,
Not going. That's not going to get it done.
that's what happens when you don't have a quarterback.
But you don't have. You're right.
It
Yes,
makes it really hard.
It does
Get
make
off
it
the
tough.
field.
Yes, it does. So my expectations is like I saw everybody, and here's the thing about it, Rob. Here's the thing. This is all I heard in the preseason about the NFC East in terms of Washington. Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to lead them. I like what did I miss in the last decade?
I
What did when did Ryan Fitzpatrick become good? I was like, what? Did you hear this stuff in the preseason?
Just ask any of us. If I did, I'd blank that out because I just nobody like ask any of us that's lived through the Ryan Fitzpatrick experience. I could have told it. No, this is not going to end well. No, I've lived that life. No,
I said Ryan Fitzpatrick is a perfect backup quarterback to carry you, hold you down for 2 or 3 games if your starter gets hurt.
Sure.
If you're kind of Ryan Fitzpatrick, if you're kind of Ryan Fitzpatrick,
no,
that, forget about it.
Just no.
Forget about it.
No. Oh, those memories are painful. Those hurt. Those losses hurt. He loses days in the most painful fashion. It's not fun. It is so not fun.
Oh man! So I was just like, yeah.
So you saved yourself some pain there. You did. Y'all did. Y'all did.
Yeah. He's gonna be out 6 to 8 weeks. I said, sure. The bottom line is they don't have a quarterback. And the league is a quarterback dominated league. One last thing, before I let you go, what are your thoughts on the Deshaun Watson situation? Where do you think he ends up? That is kind of like the elephant in the NFL room in terms of where he could go.
Yeah, he's not playing this year.
Okay.
That ain't gonna happen. So it'll be that simple. He's radioactive. Nobody can touch him. I'm gonna be blunt. Real. He played his last game.
Ever?
He's not getting back on that field. He's not getting back on the field unless all of that goes away. That's too much. It's too much, Real. It's too much. In 2021, no. Nope. Not talented enough to overcome this.
I will say this year.
Too black to overcome this. Nope.
I say he plays in 2022. Oh yeah, I agree with you for this year. I think he plays next year. These NFL teams don't have morals like that.
If this goes away, yes.
But here's the thing. Yes, I don't think this. What is telling you that this thing is like that? This thing is going to go to like trial and all, like the case seems like. And I'm not. Listen, let me be respectful to the young ladies. I'm not saying that he didn't do anything. I'm gonna make that clear. But it seems to me like the NFL doesn't have a appetite to investigate it, and that the case is just not that strong, even with all the plaintiffs or whatever, or the compliance. I don't see how he doesn't play in 2022. To be honest with you, I don't.
The game, it is different. So this is a sensitive conversation to have. So
right.
just thinking about in a football mindset, in a football way, right? So not to be callous.
Right.
You look at like the Antonio Brown situation versus Deshaun Watson situation.
Okay.
The difference is Antonio Brown is a piece. Your quarterback is the face.
Right. That's
the face of your franchise has to be squeaky clean. It just has to. And particularly when the face of your franchise is a black quarterback. Squeaky clean. I'm just telling you, Ril. Unless this goes away in a way in which satisfies everybody, which is impossible, there's not a scenario I can imagine any team touching him. This is as radioactive as Colin Kaepernick. It is that simple. It is 2021. You may not be someone who has multiple sexual assaults attached to your name. You may not.
Bad. No, it's bad.
And you may not be a quarterback with that and play in the NFL. No chance he plays. No chance.
Like I said, I agree with you for this year, but I'm not gonna say ever. I've seen the NFL just too many of these guys get back in the league. I don't think ever.
Not a quarterback. Not a quarterback. That's the difference. You're not thinking about not a quarterback.
We haven't seen a sexual case.
It's a different standard.
So it is a different standard. No, I get your point. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. I disagree, but I understand where you're coming from. It's a fair point. It's a fair point. But I'll be shocked if he plays this year. That's not gonna happen.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening. There's no way.
He's not playing this year for sure.
No. Nope. They're paying him to go sit home. Just go away.
Yep. Yeah.
They're not even we're not even gonna wait to contest. Just go away. They don't want him anywhere near the franchise.
One last sports thing before I let
my man Tyrod Taylor though. My man
Tyrod about to get a contract. Tyrod about to get a contract.
Yeah, I thought he got Ril Dil, but I
you like Tyrod. You always like Tyrod.
I am because he got stuck to Ril Dil in Buffalo. With whatever our bum head coach was at the time.
You blocked him out of that mind, blocked him out of your mind.
Yeah, whatever. The dark days. But so I was happy to see Tyrod be successful. I really was. I was.
Yeah. No, Tyrod's a veteran.
Yep.
Knows how to keep a job. Can keep a job.
Yeah, no, that's it. I was derailing the conversation with Tyrod.
One last sports thing. So I watched I didn't watch all of it, but I watched the last probably hour of it. The Djokovic match against Medvedev as he was trying to go for the counter Grand Slam, and I was like, I'm looking at it. He lost his losers in straight sets. Part of me was rooting against him because I wanted him, Federer, and Nadal to all have retired with 20. But I can see why damn it's hard to win 4 majors in 1 year. Everything was pointing towards him winning it. No Federer, no Nadal, but it's always intense. It's a young man sport. Always these young guns that's coming. And I thought he was in trouble from the standpoint of I watched the match on Friday where he had to go 5 sets. So you go 5 sets on Friday, got to come back, quick turnaround on Sunday. Had no legs. Just had no legs. And we've seen that, with Sampras late in his career, Agassi, when they make these long runs and they have a tough semifinal or a tough quarterfinal and then have nothing in the finals. And that was the same exact thing with Djokovic in that match on Sunday. Did you see it? Did you see any of the match?
No, I didn't see any match.
I didn't check. Okay. But basically he had absolutely no legs coming off the Friday semifinal. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Ril Dil podcast. It's NFL edition. We have wrapped up week one in the books, one of 18 weeks, 17 games. It's going to be marathon season. So a number, the NFL season changes about 5 times a year. There'll be 5 twists and turns in the season. Like to your point, this is basically the preseason through September. I don't think you will get a real sense of where we're at to at least week 7 or 8.
Well, right now the teams don't even know who they are.
No.
So this is like, for fans, this is like unofficial power ranking time right now. We're just basically like, who's number one this week? Who will be number one next week? Who will be number one the week after that? We won't have any real knowledge of who the teams are in my head. I always start thinking at week 8. That's when you really start saying, all right, this team is this way. This team has this defense, offense, everything like that. You can really start to codify those things. Maybe as early as week 6 in some cases. But these first 4 weeks is everybody's just finding out who they are. What we will be able to see is who's the really horrible teams. Those always make themselves.
Yeah, they stand out quickly. We
will know very quickly.
They stand out quickly. Without question, they stand out. They stand out to a T. There's no. I mean, I know they have a young quarterback, but even the Jets just look
No, they're bad. Oh, they're bad. They'll always be bad. I don't understand Jets fans, but that's them. They're horrible.
The Jets are just
and they get the rug pulled out them with the new hope quarterback every year. I don't get it. You haven't had a quarterback since the 60s. I don't understand. I really don't understand how you hold out this hope. Yeah. They're dedicated.
No, they are.
Them in Chicago with their quarterbacks. I'm just all right, okay. If y'all want to do this every year, every 3 years, go ahead. But boy, this feels like you try Susie pulling the ball away from Charlie Brown. You really gonna go. Literally everything you're saying about Zach Wilson, everything I heard about Zach Wilson, that's exactly what you were saying about Sam Darnold 2 years before. Everything. Like y'all really gonna rinse this and repeat? But okay, all right, okay.
Romo was saying some good things about him, but I'm like,
Okay. Yeah. Now I heard somebody say, looking at all the quarterbacks in the AFC East, Zach Wilson might be the best one. Okay.
All
right. Go with that take. Sure. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The
all
Jets.
Right.
Yeah, no. The Jets are the Jets. I mean, it's like we said, going back to the conversation with the Saints, culture. Culture matters. Culture is culture. Culture is culture. Like he has talent, but the culture is shitty. Period.
At a certain point in time, you're bad until you prove that you're not. That's why last year when everybody's going, aren't you excited about the Bills? Aren't you excited about what they do? Everything like that. Like, we've been bad for so long, I have to see it on a consistent basis before I'm willing to buy into it.
Yeah.
And so that was just with my team. With other people say, oh, yes, you have to prove it to me. I'm going to need to see the Jets go 12-4 and damn near win the Super Bowl before I'm like, they've turned the corner.
No, yeah.
Because I just have too much history to look at and go, nah, this ain't it. And right now, this ain't it.
No.
Sorry.
No. It's no. No.
And like I said, Detroit, god awful.
Detroit, yeah. Oh yeah, no. Detroit's horrible. No, Detroit's horrible. No, Detroit's bad. No.
Chicago's gonna struggle.
They're gonna struggle. They're gonna
struggle this year.
Yeah.
I don't know about god awful, but they're gonna struggle. It's gonna be bad.
Struggle.
Like it's gonna be bad. There's not a lot of good there. Jacksonville is going to be the worst. Just the worst.
They'll be bad.
Just the worst.
They'll be bad.
Just the worst. There's no talent around. There's no talent around him. I don't care how good Trevor Lawrence is. It's just going to be bad. And they got a college coach that has no clue what he's doing, and that's a bad situation. So those I can call almost immediately.
It's interesting, like the college coach thing, and we know Urban Meyer is a legend in college, all-time great college coach, but we've watched enough NFL to know that the college coach thing has not worked out in the NFL. It just hasn't. It's just
And it's
happening.
a college coach that hasn't actually coached in a while.
Yes.
That's my thing. It's not like it's not like, all the phones ringing for Saban. He hasn't coached in a while. He was doing broadcast.
Right. I mean,
So
how
he's
long
a
you been out for? Like
former
3 years?
great
Yeah,
college
3 years.
coach
Yeah,
who
about
was
3
on the
years.
broadcasting team.
For like 3 years, yeah.
I'm trying to make that make sense as being a successful NFL head coach. I really am, and I'm struggling.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. He's been out at college for 3 years. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess watching a lot of games helps you be an NFL coach. I guess.
I
guess.
I
So Jacksonville's going to struggle.
No,
and
they'll be
there's probably
bad.
another handful of teams I can think of just right off the rip. That just like, they're not going to be any good. I have no interest in watching their games.
No, there are about
at all.
six or seven teams that are not watchable.
Yeah.
They're about 6 or 7. I mean, certain teams you'll watch if you're a quarterback. If you're a quarterback guy, you'll watch it for the quarterback to see their development. So I'll say that. Like I can see myself watching a couple of Jacksonville games to see Lawrence, his somewhat progression. From that standpoint. But I get what you're saying. For the most part, yeah, they're about 6 teams that they're just completely unwatchable. Like even the Jets with Zach Wilson, they're still unwatchable. That's unwatchable.
Nah. Oh, we forgot to mention the Giants. The Giants.
The Giants.
Horrible.
Oh God,
Horrible.
At
Horrible.
home. Yeah.
Horrible.
Oh jeez. Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Hell, Daniel Jones. Yeah. Daniel Jones. Woo. Yeah. No.
That offensive line, man. Oof.
Yeah. No.
Oof.
No, it's bad.
Oof.
No, it's
We'll see. Saquon Barkley better be the most special running back ever created.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, no.
That's tough. That's tough. There was nothing. There was nothing.
No.
There's nothing for him.
No.
At all.
That was ugly. No,
it's bad. And then what do they have defensively? It's bad.
I mean, the defense actually, I thought the defense played well last year, but geez, they made Bridgewater look like Pat Mahomes. Bridgewater throwing the ball all over the place.
Yeah.
So
maybe something will come around later, but that did not look good.
It did not look. No, they look like a bad football team. They look like a bad.
Yeah.
I know people were high on the coach last year because of Belichick and what have you, but that did not look. No, I mean Denver is not supposed to come in y'all stadium opening week and stalk you around like that. No, not Denver. No, Denver is not supposed to come in your stadium and do that to you at all. No, that's not supposed to happen. That's not like. I mean, I know only week 1, but home blowout losses to bad teams. That's never a good sign. Never a good sign getting blown out by a team at home opening week. Yeah, man, it should be a fascinating season. Looking forward to covering this NFL season. I will talk to you soon.
All right, sir. Have a good one.
All right, take it light.
Later.
So we're going to close the program with a dedication. Like always, thanks to Rob Sapp for joining me. He will be joining me throughout the course of the NFL season to talk about what's going on, storylines, key matchups, and what what's on the horizon as far as from week to week. I'm going to end Real Thoughts, with some sad news. Real close friend of the family, passes away, Craig Graves, over the weekend. So it was definitely, personally, was a rough weekend for me, even through the euphoria of NFL season and what have you. Knew Craig for a long time, 20 plus years, close to 20 years. And, the great thing about sports is sports brings together communities, families and what have you, friends. There was one particular time where I was over my cousin, his wife's house, his house as well at that point in Jersey, and it was during the playoffs in 2004, NBA playoffs that is. It was that wild, if you remember, that wild New Jersey Net Detroit Piston game was a game 5 where the Nets stole home court advantage, ended up losing the series, but played a crazy three overtime game. I think it was 3 overtimes and won. And I just remember, again, I'm like 25 years old. There are moments in time that just stand out. That occasion, that gathering just stood out for whatever reason. When I thought about Craig, the energy that he brought to whenever he was around, whether he was visiting you, whether you were coming over his place, cousin's place for a cookout, was just infectious. And that night, I'll never forget that night. It was just one of those wild nights where it's just great company and great friendship and family, and you're talking about the game, talking about life. Everybody's just enjoying each other's company. And at 25, again, moments like that, you have a moment like that, or a night like that, at this age, at my age now, you'll cherish it forever. At 25, even then, I kind of felt like, man, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Now, I look back on it and it's aged like gold. Like it's like, that was a very special time and a special night. And one of the main reasons why it was so special was because of Craig Graves. Craig Graves was a husband, father. He was a lover of life, sports fan, and just a hell of a time. I mean, he lived a hell of a life, lived a full life, and he absolutely will be, sorely missed, to say the least. And that goes without. That's the understatement. And but he leaves here. He leaves a legacy that will, he leaves a legacy that beyond himself. And if you can live a life and leave a legacy, then it's pretty much that's all you can almost ask for. So salute to him. Prayers to his family, friends, and loved ones. Again, he was somebody who you enjoyed just being around, aka the mayor. So see you soon, brother. Rest in peace. It's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of The Real Deal. Thanks to Rob Sapp for joining me. I will see you next time. Have a great rest of your week.